Racing Season 18. We are at the Spanish Grand Prix for round 6. I am your commentator with Liam this evening. So Liam, in Spain this evening, not an easy track. What's your feelings for this one?
Not my best track, but I'm not the favourite of a lot of people, to be honest. But knowing these guys, they always seem to deliver no matter what track we're at, so I'm expecting the same nonetheless tonight from these guys.
Yeah, it was a very eventful Austria Grand Prix last week, where we saw the only Tomar take the race win in that race. So, any idea of or early predictions of who you think's going to be the race winner for tonight?
Honestly, no, because we saw last week that, well, people like Toma, if they just keep their head down and slip under the radar, they pick up good results. So it's pretty unpredictable this year, as it looks to be overcast conditions, so no rain yet.
No.
I believe they will update us shortly, I believe, on the rain.
While we are waiting for the drivers to come out the pits, OneHub is supported by Taz, which is a on-screen, well, onboard dashboard for all the drivers. It gives them telemetry updates from their race and qualifying sessions. It is across all of the OneHub Racing tiers, which is provided by TAS Tierbold or IGK, one of their members. So
sorry to interrupt you here, Storm, but I have the update on the weather. We're going to have a dry qualifying followed by a wet race, so wet race around Spain. So seen a few guys here who are pretty quick in the rain, the likes of Corey have shown their
yeah,
wet conditions. Whereas we have a few new faces, I believe, on the grid. We have Kian and the Williams, and we have two new Red Bull drivers, and Sam and Lateski. So a big welcome to those guys. I believe Kian is a returning driver, so welcome back and welcome to any new guys. Hope you enjoy your stay here.
Yeah.
And enjoy what the precision tier has to offer you.
Yeah, also, I think Sam_WD is a new driver as well in the Red Bull, so welcome to him as well. So 2 new Red Bull drivers, so we'll definitely be able to see what they can offer in the precision tier this evening. As we ride on board with a Salty Bear, former prospect champion last season. He's going to start his lap in the Renault as we ride on board with the Renault driver and take you round a lap of the Spain Catalonia track in Barcelona. He's just coming through, I believe, turn 3 and 4. It is easy to clip the curb and spin the car into the wall. As he now goes down to gear 2, 3, as he's now going to go up the gears into this corner here. You can get a little bit of understeer and lose the car, as he will now come into turn 9 and 10 on the DRS. He's setting purple sectors at the moment. Obviously the last sector isn't changed on this game at the moment, so we will be used to the old left and right sweeping corners into the last corner. What time will he set? He's going to use DRS, and it's a 1:16.4, but Danestar immediately on the mediums goes quicker with a 1:15.2.
Danestar looking to be setting that, well, sets the pace at the moment. So could he be the one to beat tonight? That is, well, my question to you at the moment is Dane the one to beat tonight?
Well, he's had a pretty good 2 weeks, I think, up and around that top 5, as M. Pricey goes second on the mediums with a 1:16.1. We did see earlier on in the prospect tier, someone did set a 1:15 time, well, a few did, so it's kind of really the issue of
a benchmark for these guys.
Yeah. I think a 1:15 on the mediums is definitely a benchmark. I don't think you'd be setting your final fast lap on the mediums. You'd want to go for the soft, especially with the rain coming in for the race. We don't know how long it's going to last on the inters or the wets.
Winning the whole race, judging by the reactions of some of these guys in the Discord server. They're not very happy that it's raining, but while we'll get a bit of time, I will run you through this week's driver's press conference, which was Don de Boer, who has unfortunately left for the remainder of the season. His question was that because he didn't have the best of times last week, but he still had the chance to win the championship, is this going to happen at the end of the season? Well, unfortunately, we didn't get the answer because, as I mentioned, Don is unfortunately left the league. But in the rivalries press conference was Chris and Martin. Martin also not here this week. He's another one who has left the league. He was replaced by Kian in Williams. But the question was for Martin, was Chris just having one of those races last week? And the question for Chris was, why do you seem to be a magnet for Martin? And Chris's reply was, I don't think it's me necessarily. I think it's just the way he drives. Judging by the way he entered the pit and blaming it on me, he's not a very good league racer. He's trying to crash into me when I'm driving in a straight line too. It seems when he's not leading the race, he's unable to drive side by side with other cars. He's racked up quite a lot of penalty points this season, so he should try and calm down for these last 5 races instead of ruining people's races every week. So, shots fired by the Ferrari man of Chris, who's currently top of the timesheets.
Yeah, just
Martin wasn't really able to reply because he has left the league, but he wasn't suspended for the rest of the season due to penalty points. He has just picked up and said bye for no reason.
Yeah. So, as we ride on board with ERT Nick, who has got himself up to P4, he was P3, but Van Hanen, I believe, went quicker with a 1:14.3. He's only one of the 4 drivers in the 1-minute 14s on the soft compound tyre. He's done 1 lap on them, as he's now just completely invalidated his lap by cutting the last corner. Yeah, so at the moment we've got Chris in P1, the provisional pole with a 1:14.5. Then we have Van Hanen in P2 with a 1:14.8. So roughly around about 3/10 behind. Then we've got Rimpy, who was DSQ'd last week in Austria, got himself up quite nicely into the points. Is currently 3rd with a 1:14.8, so not that far off of Van Hanen. Then we've got ERT Nick in 4th, one of the Mercedes, with a 1:14.9. Then we've got in 5th, we've got White Fountain with a 1:15.0. Scorpion Hun in 6th with a 1:15.1. Then we've got Kian in 7th with a 1:15.2. Then we've got Danestar, who's all the way down in P8 with a 1:15.2. I don't know if he's set a lap on the softs at the moment, or that still is.
On his flying lap. He's coming through the middle sector now, towards the end of the middle sector. And like you were saying earlier, we do not have the updated Catalan circuit, so you've still got the awkward hairpin, followed by the bumpy left-hander up the hill, followed by the right, instead of the new. I think it's done away with that horrible up-hand curve. But Dane coming through the last chicane, another very nightmarish spot on this track. Considering how tight the chicane is, he's up to the line, and it's P1 at 1:14.4, so 10 faster than Chris in the Ferrari.
Very nice lap there from the Mercedes driver. Oh, he might be blocking a little bit of the pit lane as the drivers are coming out. He's just realised and moved over. But yeah, fantastic provisional pole lap from one of the Mercedes drivers. So I think we may see the Dane Star versus Chris battle again. But there's still 8 minutes left.
Thomas sticks it into P2 at the moment as Latevsky has retired after not set a lap.
So it's not all going well at the Red Bull garage for one of the drivers, as his teammate is in P2 with a 1:16.3.
P12 you mean, not P2?
Yeah, sorry, apologies.
Yeah, well, 2 new boys in the garage for the Red Bull team, so it might take them a bit of time to get used to the car and the surroundings, but you think a team like Red Bull would be hoping for a driver that can really hit the ground running from the start and be up there like Don de Boer was at the start of the first few races and like Riefler was last week.
Yeah. I'm just riding on board with Scorpion Hun. He has invalidated within the first 2 corners, so he's probably going to turn down that fuel and ERS and wait for another lap.
Yeah, that would be probably the best decision. You've got 7.5 minutes to get around and get another lap in. What did you say there, sorry?
Oh no, it's just riding on board with Corey as he finishes his lap and he goes P11.
Lukey off in the final sector, so he was off for a trip into one of the many gravel traps around Catalunya. As he pulls into the pits now. Not looking good for the Alpha at the moment.
Just ride on board with Chris. See, he's currently P3, one of the Ferrari drivers. I don't know if he's up on his time or not.
We will find out very shortly.
Oh, there's an Alpha Tauri.
He's just down by half a tenth on his personal best. He's avoided the awkward bouncy curve. Through the last chicane now, this very awkward and tight last chicane. Got to sacrifice your entry for a good exit there. Up to the line he goes. Doesn't improve. By about 300 he misses out on improving.
Yeah, it's definitely a different top 3 than it was in Austria. I can definitely guarantee that. Because Rimpey wasn't up there, and neither was the only Tomar. Obviously, with still 6 minutes left, anything can happen. But 3 different car manufacturers as well. You've got Mercedes, Racing Point, and obviously an Alfa Romeo. So it's definitely going to be a fight.
The top 5 are all different manufacturers.
Yeah.
You've got Haas, Ferrari, Alfa Romeo, Racing Point, and Mercedes. So the Ferrari powered cars looking to be strong ones at the moment. Booking out for 4th and 5th with the 2 Mercedes powered cars, 1 and 2. So we have a bit of a Mercedes Ferrari rivalry going on, so we're throwing it back to 2017 and 2018 now, with the battle between the Mercedes power unit and the Ferrari power unit.
Yeah, I'm just on board with Rimpey. He's coming through the sweeping left-right of the last sector. Oh no, he's gone in the pits. So he's aborted that lap.
I believe Danestar is on a lap. So he's coming through the middle sector, towards the end of the middle sector. But check his delta time now. He's about 1.5 tenths up on his personal best at the moment, Danestar. Into the final sector he goes, avoiding the bumpy curb on the left, keeping it nice and tight for the right hander, power down, using as much of the track as possible, and now getting it through this awkward section of track here. It's very difficult for the understeer. He goes wide enough on exit to just avoid getting the invalidation, and he's improved by a tenth to do a 1:14.3. So Dane looking to be mighty fast at the moment, and the man to beat currently.
Yeah, he's definitely been impressive in this current qualifying session. Everyone has set a lap except from Key and Lukey, obviously the one DNF retirement. As Corey is back out on the track, he's just coming out the pit exit in the Renault.
Now for maybe one last blast or two.
Yeah.
Most of the guys will probably sit there for another minute or so, and then we'll see the rest of the guys come out for their last round of Catalan circuit.
Yeah, I'm just on board with Nick, or ERT Nick. He's just let his teammate through, so I wonder if they're going to do the toe down the straight and give Nick.
Yep, I believe they will, unless Dane pulls into the pits. No, Dane's coming into the pits.
We're right on board with ERT Nick as he's going to set his lap. Well, he'll start his flying lap.
Here we go, DRS open, down the start-finish straight he goes. Going to get it nice and far to the left, probably just about over those curves, braking over 100 metres, picking it over those curves on the right hand side. Just slightly grazing that left hand curve because it can be very dangerous. Flat out through turn 3 up towards turns 4 and 5. And it brakes nice and light, get it tight on the apex and power down using all of your track available, and then get it back across. Braking downhill through the left hander, but get it nice and wide again on exit. And straighten this part of the track out as much as possible before going up the hill again through a very awkward left-hander. Now he's going to sweep it right through and towards the end of the middle sector. DRS open, flying down the straight. He's going to brake with about 100 metres to go. He's just up on his delta at the moment. Power down. Will he use the awkward bouncy curve? No, he won't. Braking hard and down the gears through the right-hander. Power down on apex, using as much of the track as possible for sweeping right, and then left, and then right again through the last corner, well, the last part of the chicane, through the sweeping final corner. Is he going to improve? Here he comes across the line, and he does. He's up to 5th place in the Mercedes.
So as he sets his lap, Danestar comes out of the pits, so I wonder if it's going to be a strategy situation of use now Nick, well, ERT Nick, as the person to, well, make sure that Danestar gets, yeah, I was just going to think about that. That was
we saw last week in Austria, the Mercedes playing it smart with using the toe, them both using the toe down the straight, but mainly Nick being able to pull Danestar down the long straights, just to give him that little extra advantage over the other guys. But I'm sure we will see a few other teams doing it. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see the Ferraris do it. They've done it in China, I believe, down the long straight there.
Yeah.
So it's not out of the realms of possibilities for a few teams to be doing it. But looking at the track map, Danestar has started his lap, and Nick is basically on the other side of the circuit.
Oh, Danestar's. Yeah, I was just about to. You beat me to it.
Okay, Rimpe coming through the first 2 corners now. He's invalidated now.
Just
Rimpe
gonna go
is next to invalidate.
Yeah, I'm just on board with his teammate Lukey. Not set a lap yet, so he's really left it late. It's either this lap or that's it. He's gonna start back of the grid in P17.
Chris is on his last flying lap now. He's about half a tenth down through the first sector. So we'll keep an eye out on him coming towards the line as Verheyen crosses the line third. Toma coming to the end of the first sector is up by just under half a tenth. It's the purple sector 1 for Toma there. So we'll wait on these guys crossing the line any minute now. Who will be the first to cross the line? It is...
I think it might be Lukey.
Keane in the Williams. He goes P6 and then followed up by... Nope, Lukey pulls into the pit, so he's not setting a lap time. we have White Fountain or Vitinho goes across the line to put it P8. Followed by his teammates coming through the final corner. As Corey is out of the session. He's invalidated coming out in the middle at the start of the final sector. Next to cross the line will be the McLaren of Key Hughes, who has invalidated his lap. So the next driver, I believe, to cross the line.
Sam.
No. Yeah. If he's on the flying lap, which I don't believe he is. No, Sam's going slowly. So that is your grid for tonight's Spanish GP.
Dainstar with another pole position. The only Tomar in P2 as well, and Van Hanen up there again in P3. So definitely going to be an interesting turn one, especially in the wets. Well, the inters or the full wets.
Yeah, I think we'll see quite a bit of caution for turn one, considering how chaotic Austria was. But I have to say, I think the Ferrari of Chris is going to be quite disappointed to be down in P5. Stuck on that third row of the grid. He's not really going to be able to go places unless people make mistakes. So but there is your grid order. Dainstar takes pole, followed by Tomat and Vahanen, who round out the top three. Next is Rimpe, Chris, Kian, Scorpion, Nick, Vitinho and Corey in the top 10. And Whitefoot and Pricey, Sam, Saltibert, Key, Leteski and Lukey rounding out the grid.
Yeah, it's definitely the qualifying sessions definitely change weekly in the precision tier, so it's going to be an interesting one, I think. Now with the race being wet.
Well, they still got to stop twice though, so I think we could see a few guys pull what Riley did maybe back in China and go for a massive undercut, because that shot him right up the grid. As we are about to get underway with the formation lap, we'll quickly mention the sponsors for the league, which is Next Level Racing, who sponsors by giving away a GT League cockpit as a prize to a giveaway winner. Liam RBS, who sponsors our trophies for each season. You will find him at twitch.tv/LiamRBS. Free M Sim Racing, who will be giving away of their sim racing gloves to a driver with the most pole position and fastest laps. Our partner Vespertine, who support our championship prizes. ERT, who sponsor the Go and Get Stuff award, and our collaboration with Time to Print, who give 20% off this week's track on their store by using the code OneHub Racing. So a massive thank you to all of you for being able to help out this amazing league, as we're about to get the formation lap underway now.
Yeah, definitely a massive thank you to all of the sponsors that help and provide all the prizes and everything that they do to OneHub Racing for this season and previous seasons and even future seasons when we move on to F1 2021 in a couple of months. We are now on the formation lap with Dainstar in P1 and the Only Tomar in P2, with Van Hanen rounding off in the Haas in third place. So the drivers will have to make a mandatory two-stop pit, so if they don't, they will be DSQ'd from the race. So as you can see on the screen, it is all inters for the race. Obviously the drivers will make their own decisions depending on the track, and if it does dry up, which it doesn't look like at the moment, it will.
Well, you never know with this game. We know how random the weather is on this game. Even if it says it's not going to dry up, it could certainly dry up right at the end of the race.
Yeah.
The game always likes to throw a spanner in the works. So,
yeah, and also
the intermediates should provide us with some closer racing than the wet tires did in China. Full wets, never really the most entertaining of races, but at least with the intermediates, we have the chance of these guys putting on a decent show for us.
Yeah, as we saw in the prospect tier, we did have a few VSCs and safety cars, well, one safety car in the race. It's going to be a little bit more cautious this evening, being the intermediate tyres and it raining still. Obviously, we don't know how many laps the rain will come down, as the drivers are now coming through the last sector into their grid positions for lights out. As I'm going to really struggle with that name. Is
being disqualified. Having a quick look, you notice Thomas overtaking Dainstar on the lap.
That's not going to be good.
No, these guys' tyres are going to be freezing cold.
As the drivers now line up on the grid, in their grid slots.
Well,
we'll just wait for...
over to you, and you can take us away for the start of this race.
Yeah, well, I will do when all the drivers are in their grid slots, as we wait for one final Red Bull driver. As now the drivers are all in their grid slots, as we wait for the famous 5 red lights. 1 lights, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And it's lights out, and away we go in Season 18 for round 6 in Spain, as they all go down into turn 1. Is Dainstar going to get the move? No, he's going to keep into P1, but it looks like Van Hanen is going to look down the inside as he goes down the inside into turn 2 and 3. Is he going to get the move done? He's having a battle with the only Tamar, but he goes wide off the track. It looks like there's some moves done at the back as well. A Scorpion Hunt is dropping down the order as well. Let's see if anybody else...
I saw one of the Ferraris cut across turn 2 at the start of the race. I'm not sure which one it was. Certainly one of them, as we've got a bit of a squabble with Tinho and Corey now going up the hill now. Tinho backs out and lets Corey take place around the outside, not really wanting to risk it with that very deadly curve on the inside. Now Scorpion could have had the advantage there. Pricey backs out, but here comes White Fountain now, trying to go round the outside of the Ferrari. Thinks better of it. Oh, he's just a bit of a tag from the racing point. Pricey is still trying to squeeze it in there.
Yeah, it's quite chaotic, as ERT Nick is on the back. He's just probably going to sit back and let these two in front battle and then take the positions if they do make the mistake. But let's go back up to the front of the pack. Let's see, as we've got Rimpy, I believe, on the back of Van Haten. Oh, as my game has now, well, decided to mess up the leaderboard.
Well, it's inevitable this happened.
Yeah, just when there's a battle. As I believe Van Hanen was on, well, receiving pressure from, it looks like...
Rimpy.
Yeah.
Well, the Alfa Romeo is still sitting about half a tenth back or so. Well, no, about half a second back, not half a tenth, sorry. Yeah, about 4 tenths, 3 tenths up, 3 tenths back, so really got to rely on a bad run up this hill really from Bahena, or a bad run through this right-hander. He wants to make a move, but if not, he's going to be stuck behind him for that final sector with all of the understeer and dirty air from that car in front. It's very bad in the race on dry conditions, never mind the wet, so dirty air is going to play a big factor through this final sector.
And also there's going to be no DRS, so the drivers are going to have to rely on ERS and just raw pace that they have. As a driver, Kian has completely cut the corner and got himself a 3-second time penalty. He's in P5. He is going to have to fight off, it looks like, Chris, but Chris is a little bit too far back. He's not going to have DRS, because obviously of the wet conditions.
Salty burns Sam, but Sam's in the pits, so as the other Red Bull driver is off in the gravel in the final sector. So I don't think Helmut Marko and Christian Horner are going to be very happy with these guys.
Especially, yeah.
There's going to be big words coming out of the Red Bull. Well, there's going to be big words coming in the Red Bull garage after this race. These two don't really get back up the order.
Yeah. As they've now made the one stop, they've got to still make another stop. But just seeing if anyone is making an attempt. There is a bit of a battle, it looks like,
Pricey
behind.
Pricey going around the outside, the hairpin. Scorpion keeps the position though. Doesn't get the best run. White Fountain tried to get a move in there as Pricey picks up a hit. A 3-second time penalty for corner cutting, it might be.
Yeah, it was.
Because we all know how bad this track is, where it's a very strict track limit.
As Corey sets the fastest lap with a 1:28.6. Oh, there's a yellow flag.
It's the racing points. Pricey.
He spun it, I think, and clipped the
Got
curb.
front wing damage as well. So maybe a bit of contact with Scorpion there, maybe, or Whiteout, and one of the guys who seem to be battling with the whole race, or most of the race so far.
Yeah, I'm just riding on board with Corey. He's on the back of Chris, as Chris is on the back of Kian. So we've got a little bit of a midfield three-way battle. As Chris has had a look, but got the door closed on him again. I think Corey's just going to sit there and let Chris do the work and get past Kian.
What's the smart thing to do is just sit and let these guys battle away with each other and just slow each other down or ruin their tyres.
Yeah, especially with the two-stop strategy.
It's the Ferrari. Oh, tank slapper from the Ferrari as Corey slips it up the inside now. Ambitious move from the Renault, squeezing out the Ferrari, but gets the move done. So that has certainly cost the Ferrari a position there, so you won't be happy with that. But like you said, Corey taking advantage.
I'm just going to interrupt you there. We've got Rimpy on the back of Van Hanem. I think Rimpy's going to get the move done into turn one. He's battling. No, he's got the move done, I believe. Yeah, he has. So Rimpy goes up to the podium places and gets past Van Hanem for P3.
What move there that was. Luckily you were paying attention on that. I was focused on the battle with Corey.
Yeah, as Key gets a 3-second time penalty. He is in P13, so he's not in the points at the moment, as the top 12 get points in any OneHub race in all the tiers, so he's got one more position to gain if he wants them points. Some fans of Sam in the chat, who is currently in P15. He's made one pit stop. He is currently 25.5 seconds behind the Salty Bear, who is a former OneHub Racing champion. So he's coming up against someone who knows how to win on the track in the Renault. Just wondering if Oni Toma is closing the gap up to Dainstar. It's 1.4 currently at the moment, as Dainstar goes even quicker with a 1:28.5 on the intermediate tyres. So he's trying to push that lead if it does go to dry weather. Any damages at the moment you can see on TAS, Liam?
I will have a quick look for you, but I was paying attention to what's going on track. I was riding on board where Corey is still trying to hunt down Kian ahead of him.
We will ride on board with Corey. I think he's just being cautious with... Sam sets the fastest lap with a 1:28.5. Fantastic lap there from the Red Bull driver, who's currently in P15. But we'll ride on board with Corey at the moment. He's kind of in a sandwich at the moment because he's trying to push to catch Kian, but he's also got the fast Ferrari behind him who's pushing on him, so he's got a bit of pressure from Chris.
Yeah, just going back to what you were asking me, the last damage reported was lap 5, I believe. The last major damage was Pricey changing his wing. So other than that, I do not believe we have much damage.
I'm just going to have to interrupt you there, as Corey is really on the back of Kian. He's going to get the ERS activated. Is he going to go for the move? He tucks himself behind. Is he going to go for the move into turn 1? He's having a look, I think. He's going to go down the inside. He makes a late move into turn 1. They're going to go side by side into turn 2. Kian keeps the move. But no, Corey gets the move done into turn 3. He's coming into now. But Kian's fighting it back, I think. No, as Kian drops down to P6 and Corey takes P5. Oh, it looks like Van Halen had a bit of understeer and loses a little bit of time from Rimpy. So it's all chaos into turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, the dirty air really taking effect now, as Chris is now faced with the bright white Williams of Kian in front of him. So surely got to be fed up of staring at the back of the Williams now. He's been stuck behind that Williams most of the whole race so far anyway.
We're just right on board with the Ferrari driver of Chris. He is behind that Williams again. He's probably thinking he wants to get past it as soon as possible. He's right on the back. Is Kian going to lose 2 positions in 2 laps? Oh no, Chris is in the pits.
Going for the undercut.
Let's just see if he...
Anyone follow him in?
I don't think anyone is. No. But we've got Scorpion Hun is going to have a battle with, I believe that's Vitinho. It is, as they go side by side into turn 2 and 3. Oh, a little bit of contact as Vitinho gets pushed off the track by Scorpion Hun. So
yeah, Scorpion got squeezed a bit on the apex turn 3. So Vitinho backed off a bit, and Scorpion got a bit of a tank slapper and came back across. So nothing intentional there between those 2 drivers, just a bit of a racing incident after a squeeze on the Ferrari.
Yeah.
And a few more people picking up penalties.
I was just about to say that, as the only Tamar gets his first 3-second time penalty, he's got a little bit of a gap to Rimpy, but he will drop the position due to the 3-second time penalty. There's a little bit of a train behind Nick, and there's one behind, I believe, White Fountain. So it's now going to be the time, I think, to apply the pressure to the drivers as Danestar goes even quicker with a 1:28.3. He's showing he's got pace in the dry and the wet, as Scorpion Hun now makes that pit stop. Well, I believe quite a few are, yeah.
And Case, we've got 5 people following him in. So let's see where Chris funnels out. He's coming through the final corner now. Kian has not came in though, crucially, so that's the man that Chris will be wanting to jump. I'll just keep an eye out. Surely Kian's going to be in either the next few laps, so Chris is going to have to be flat out until then to complete that undercut.
Yeah, he's got himself back up to P8. Obviously, White Fountain has not P8. Well, the top 7 haven't. So Chris will want to get his head down, put his foot down, and just try and close that gap even more. So I do apologise if that's my line.
It is, I believe.
I do apologise.
I had a very loud dog in the background earlier shouting.
Yeah. As we are on only lap 9, it does feel like we've been on like lap 15. But we will keep on board with Chris, see if he does get that move done while Keane is in the pit.
Keane and wait for it then, while Chris is coming through the last few corners now, so into the chicane he goes. Where is Keane now? Keane has just pulled into his pit box. It's going to be a close one, but I think Chris may have got the move done.
As he sets the fastest lap.
He has got the move done. He's got past Corey as well, so it's two positions gained from the undercut. That fastest lap both helped him quite a bit there.
So the only top three that haven't not come in is the only Tomar, Rimpey and Van Halen. I suspect, obviously not knowing too much about the intermediate tyres, their life wear, as we're always used to a dry track, they are, I suspect, gonna probably come in this lap or next lap, as they'll probably let their second teammate pit before them, just to give them that extra few laps to make that gap and hopefully get one over their rivals in the championship with any position that they can, as they are now in the pits. So is Danestar gonna get past all of them, because he's coming through the two sweeping corners?
Well, Danestar was in the lead of the race, remember, so
yeah,
he will probably retain his lead. Pit stop battle between Vahanen and Rimpey now. Vahanen has jumped Rimpey in the pits.
Just wondering if Chris is going to jump anybody. No, he hasn't.
Too far ahead of Chris.
But he has closed the gap though, up to Rimpey of 1.1.
Yeah, he's got the gap down, so maybe if he pulls another undercut later in the race, he can jump these guys. That's if they don't pull too far away. There you go.
Yeah. So let's just check if everybody has made that one pit stop. I believe they have, yeah. So everybody has made one pit stop. They have got to make another, as that is the mandatory 2 stop then completed. So who's the biggest gainers of the race?
Pit stop. The biggest gainers of the round the pit stop would probably be Chris.
Yeah.
He's got to be the biggest gainer so far.
But Corey's doing himself quite well, up 4 places from P10, he's up to P6. Obviously he has got penalties, I believe that's a 3 second, yeah, but so is Keane. So if he can stay in front of Keane, he will keep that P6, but he's on the back, it looks like, of Chris, so he's going to close that gap. Yeah, he'll close it I think, but won't make the move.
Slowly working the gap on Rimpey ahead of him. Got about a 9/10 gap per ahead, so he's slowly getting it down.
Yeah, I think one of these type of races where it is Spain and it is a wet track, I think the drivers are just grinding out the time, and
yes,
like
Spain is usually not the best of races, especially in real life and in the game. It's not usually great for racers. On board with this year, Rimpey's making quite a few mistakes in this lap. He's got that down to about a second.
The other thing that's noticeable is the last sector. In real life it's been redone, whereas on the game you've got to try and change your mindset to think that it hasn't been changed, that it's still the 2 sweeping left and right corner.
Only one change in the final sector. It was the hairpin. Instead of it being a little quick straight and then flicking it left and right, they just rounded that corner off into well, yeah, to make it easier on the drivers, I think, but it's probably gonna decrease the racing, so that's probably one of the main overtaking spots around the circuit.
Yeah.
So removing that is a bit questionable.
Because obviously the track in Catalonia, Barcelona, Spain doesn't just host F1, it hosts the MotoGP race, so it's definitely got a lot of racing history with the F1 cars. As you saw in the real life F1, it was a Mercedes who eventually won. Lap 13 of 33, do you see anybody trying to catch Dainstar, or do you think he's got it and he's going to take the provisional race win? Obviously there's still a pit stop to go, or do you think the only Tomar will close that gap and take the race win from Dainstar?
Personally, I think, bar any major mistakes or late race drama involving safety cars, I think Dane is pretty secure up there. I don't think he is really going to be challenged at the moment. Rimpey sits the fastest lap. As going back to what you're saying about the track, it is a very historic track with many moments around here. We've had, well, Michael Schumacher took his first Ferrari win here. The late great Michael Schumacher in the wet, nonetheless.
Yeah.
I don't believe either of us were
No.
born for that, but it is it is probably one of the highlights of his career. His first ever Ferrari win came around this circuit in the wet, but it's not looking like any of the Ferraris are going to imitate it.
No. I think it'll be Mercedes' day today, I think. Obviously, the only Tomar has got a 3-second time penalty, so if Van Halen and Rimpey can close up that gap, the only Tomar might not even get on the podium today. He may be settling for a P4 if Rimpey and Van Halen can get up into the podium positions, or even close the gap and then get it at the end of the race. Rimpey's had 2 good races at the moment so far. He had a good race in Austria, coming from a DSQ, and he's sitting P4 after a fantastic qualifying, so he's doing well in the Alfa Romeo, as Van Halen goes even quicker with a 1:27.2 on lap 15, as we ride on board with the Mercedes driver of Dainstar, who is currently just cruising in P1. He's got no penalties. I don't know if he's got any warnings. We can check TAS if he has any warnings. Has he got any warnings, Liam?
Sorry, I'm spacing out here. It's nothing to do with the race. I'm just getting a headache at the moment. Bit of a migraine that's really taking its toll at the moment. I'm trying to power on through for the rest of the race.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with these guys, of course. It's just staring at the screens for a few hours. It's really taking its toll.
As I believe the Red Bulls have had a tactical team switch, and Sam has dropped to P15 and let his teammate go in front of him.
Yeah, well, I don't think Helmut Marko is going to be a happy boy at the moment. He's probably fuming on that pit wall, thinking of all the ways he's going to spot, of how he's going, of all the words he's going to be saying to these two after the race. It's a shame we don't have the team's press conference anymore, because, well,
yeah, I wouldn't want to be in that.
I wouldn't want to be the Red Bull drivers.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind being Haas at the moment, sitting in third.
Yeah, wouldn't mind being Mercedes either. Mercedes on for their 2nd constructors title in a row.
Yeah, that would be quite impressive from the Mercedes team.
Of course, nothing compared to the feats these guys achieve in real life. They're
No.
on for 7 in a row or 8 in a row now, but 2 in a row is pretty impressive in OneHub terms, I have to say. So Mercedes seem to be good at, well, I believe Nick is the driver who gets the seat every season. Well, he has for the past 2 seasons, and he always seems to pick one of the guys near the front to back him up.
Yeah, we had that in Prospect where former Prospect driver Gazzaman always picked the Red Bull.
Yeah.
So,
well, I believe Nick has always picked the Mercedes every chance he's got. So he's a bit of a Mercedes. He's a big Lewis Hamilton fan, I have to say, if you follow him on Twitter.
Yeah.
He's a very, very big Lewis Hamilton fan. He's a very big fanboy.
Well, while we're on the subject of social media and Twitter, you can follow OneHub Racing on Twitter at OneHub Racing, and you can also join their Discord community, which is on their Twitter page. If you're into the fantasy league game, they do have one which all of the drivers are included. You get a pick each driver of each tier, which you can change weekly. It is becoming now quite the weekly hot rivalry topic, I think, in the Discord. And also you can meet all the drivers, the commentators and the staff as well. So do go and check out at OneHub Racing on Twitter for all the content of standings, race of there as well. So that's where you can get all the info, as we are now on lap 17 of 33. Still raining. Nobody has gone for the second pit stop yet. I think they're trying to hold it out just to see if there will be a little bit of a dry patch, if they can go on the hard compound tyres, which would be, I believe, the C4.
Yeah, well, while we have a bit of time, I will run you through last week's stewards inquiry. So we had an incident between Chris and Dainstar, which resulted in a 5-second penalty to Dainstar's race time and 0.5 penalty points. Chris was battling with Martin, and Dane makes a late move, causing contact with Chris and takes 2 positions. The stewards believe that Dane would have not made the corner. Dane would not have made the corner if he didn't make contact with Chris. Therefore, a 5-second penalty will be added to his race. And the next one was Chris again, but this time with Martin, and 0.5 penalty points will be added to Martin's license. Martin is following Chris, but makes contact into turn 6 with the Ferrari's rear end and gains position as a result. The stewards added 0.5 penalty points to his licenses, as time penalties cannot be applied since Martin didn't finish the race. Next up was Chris again and Rimpey this time, but it was declared a racing incident with no further action required. Rimpey was trying to make a move on Chris into turn 3, but the safety car comes out before he could make the move, and the pair brushed over without any damage. The game added a 5-second penalty for both drivers, which cannot be removed if both drivers served them in the pits. And then Chris and Rimpey again on lap 36. Chris is attacking Lukey and defending from Rimpey into turn 4. Rimpey makes the move up the inside under braking while Chris tries to block, which results in the pair making contact, and Chris slides off the track and gets a 3-second time penalty. Stewards believe that the move under braking was not fair from Chris and believe the slide time penalty handed out by the game is punishment enough for his actions. The final incident was Chris again and Martin again, which was declared no further action as Martin pits a few seconds after Chris and flies into the back of the Ferrari, basically using the Ferrari as a brake for the pit lane. So, but the stewards declared no further action required, as it is Martin's responsibility to make sure he doesn't make contact. But they've deemed it not worthy of further investigation, but that will round out the steward results for last week. There were many more
Yeah.
incidents reported, but luckily for the stewards, the guys who submitted it didn't use the correct format, unfortunately. They didn't follow the correct format for submit, which you're required to do when submitting footage to the stewards of an incident, which resulted in these stewards overlooking all of their incidents.
Yeah, so a busy one in the stewards list, well, last week now, for the precision tier. It wasn't that busy 2 weeks ago, but it has picked up again. But yeah, we are now on lap 20, and that rain does not look like it wants to stop. I think it may be coming down a little bit harder.
I think it's staying about the same, but it's going to be a long slog to the end of the race for these guys.
Yeah, it is now coming to the quiet part. 13 laps left. We've got Rimpy on the back of Van Halen. He's closing that gap each lap, so we're right on board. Pricey's gone on the wets. That could be quite interesting. We'll have to see what his lap time delta will be, as Van Halen and all that lot are now in the pits, so that is going to promote Corey up to P4. Van Halen and Chris are in the pits, so what's Van Halen in for? Is he just going to do the undercut? I think he might be.
Yes, he is. So is Chris.
So it's a little bit of an undercut battle between Van Halen and Chris, as Lukey is also in the pits, but Pricey's gone on the wets. That doesn't quite make sense.
Yeah, got to agree with you. That's a bit of a puzzling one. As well, while we're currently in a bit of a quiet period of the race, I want to discuss with you the current championship at the moment, with Vahanen's currently leading the championship, but Scorpion and Chris only 1 and 2 points behind.
Wow.
With Toma just about 20 points off, and Dean a further 25 off Chris. So my question to you is, do you think someone like Dainstar or Toma can close the gap to those 3 championship leaders before the end of the season?
I think...
And currently at the moment, based on what you've seen in the last few weeks, who do you say is the current favourite to take the title?
I think obviously, as we're on board with Scorpion, I can see only Toma getting up there. Obviously he's got the penalty. Oh, yellow flag sector 1. That's pricey. Is that going to cause any VSCs or safety cars?
No, I don't believe so. Just still going.
Yeah. Back to what I was saying. I think obviously you have to back the man who's, you know, in P1 in the championship at the moment. He's currently sitting in P4. Obviously people in front of him haven't pitted, so if you think about it, Van Halen could close the gap and take a potential P2, maybe pushing on the door of a P1 off of Dainstar. A sector 2 safety car.
Safety car.
Oh, this is now going to get spicy, because
Let's just spice things up for us now. So
yeah,
that's going to give the likes of Dainstar, Toma and Key a free pit stop. So free pit stop for these guys in the lead. Not what Vahanen was wanting. So it's just trying to stop that a little bit too early.
but Key has got a time penalty, so has only Toma. So as Dainstar's already in and out the pits, whereas the only Toma's only now coming in the pit box. Wow, that's an impressive pit from the Mercedes driver. In and out before P2's even
Helped by a ghost, I believe, or it might have been his teammate. maybe in the team retiring the car of his teammate, but Rimpey on fresh tyres has jumped him. So like you were saying, Verheyen back up to P2 now.
Yeah. I think he's just proving why he's at the top of the Precision Tier Championship. He knows when to make them calls, and he knows when to put them into, into action. As the problem Verheyen's going to have is he's got,
I have a question. What about the man that's leading this race, Dainstar? Do you think he's about 30 odd points behind, but we still have 4 weeks to go?
Yeah, obviously Dainstar has been impressive the last couple of weeks. Obviously last week he was in the steward's office. So he's got to, just, I think, put his head down and just focus on the race. At the moment, he's sitting comfortable. Verheyen has got an AI a salty bear to get past. So that will be his first priority. But with the safety car, this does close up the gap between Dainstar and Verheyen. So I think what Verheyen has got to do is, in these last 10 laps, close up the gap to Dainstar and possibly go for the move as quickly as he can. But then Dainstar's also got to try and keep it clean and keep the position. But it doesn't help that Verheyen's in P2 because it's gonna push his the gap on the points even further. Even though
they want him to be that little bit further down the field, but
a
crucial factor to this battle between these, the battle that could happen between these two, is that Dainstar has 2 lap younger tyres.
Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Verheyen or, even Dainstar can't make a mistake. We are still on a wet track, so one slip, or we could see a George Russell moment from Imola where he just absolutely drops it. But Dainstar's that experienced enough, I think he wouldn't.
Speaking of George Russell and Imola, he's dropped it quite a few times at Imola.
Yes, he has.
One was an unfortunate mistake under the safety car, I believe, and the other was trying to get past the porridge man, also known as Valtteri Bottas or Bottas.
Yeah. Safety car is in this lap, so it's going to be 9 lap sprint. No, I think also what's hampering Verheyen is that AI car. He can't get that close as he wanted to be.
It's a lap down. It's a lap down car.
Yeah.
He should be able to overtake, I believe.
I don't think you can because he's AI. I think it's a salty bear, so he's going to get blue flag straight as they go over that line. When will Dainstar go? He's still waiting.
He's going to go right in the last minute.
He's going to wait. He's going to bunch them all up. And yep, he's gone. And we are now back under racing in Spain. And look at that, all the grid all backed up. Who's going to go down the inside? As it looks like Corey is going to go down the inside of the only Tamar. And he's got the move done. Corey gets himself up to P4. Fantastic move from one of the Renault drivers. But it looks like the only Tamar is going to get the move back done into turn 3 and 4. They're going to battle it. Yeah, he's got the move done. But it looks like Rimpey is already on the back of Verheyen already. Oh, Verheyen is having a little bit of a pressure from Rimpey. As Rimpey had a look up the inside of Verheyen. Verheyen is now going to feel the pressure of the Alfa Romeo. All as we just heard Rimpey lock up them tyres. It's quite an epic restart it looks like, behind Danestar. Danestar is so happy that I reckon that he's in P1. No one in front of him.
Clear air, no spray. No worrying about anyone ahead of him braking early or braking too late.
Yeah. I don't think Rimpy's going to get the move done.
He won't get it done this lap unless he makes a mistake, but going back to the restart, well, Dean certainly used the lap curve salty bear to his advantage, waiting until he pulled slightly in front of him, had to drop back behind it, behind the lap car, and then he went, so he certainly might have been looking in his mirrors at the moment. Danestar, he's aware of what other people are doing.
Yeah, we have got a bit of a battle for, it looks like, P2 with Rimpy and the Only Tom R. And also, you could add Corey into that as well, but the Only Tom R and Corey do have time penalties, so they will potentially drop. But it's going to be, I think, a close battle to the end, even though it is in the wets, well, intermediate tyres. They've given us a fantastic restart. It's now just who can close that gap and who can potentially make that overtake in the last couple of laps of this Spanish Grand Prix in OneHub Racing. So as we come on board for lap 27, the Only Tom R is closing that gap on to Rimpy as Van Halen sets the fastest lap with a 1:27.0. So he's definitely going to pull that gap to Rimpy.
He's already got over a second scrap to Rimpy, and the Mercedes of Dane is going to be looking in his mirrors at the moment as that Haas bears down on him.
Yeah, Van Halen is now under 1 second. It's unfortunate that obviously we don't have the DRS because of the wet conditions. I think we would have seen a lot more overtakes, especially in this instant with the safety car restart. I think we would have seen Van Halen have that go at Danestar for that race lead.
Got to agree with you. If this was a dry race, it would have probably been... Oh, there's a rhino off! Corey made a mistake! The left-hander, and he's dropped back behind Chris and Vitinho now.
And he's going to be a sitting duck, I think, for ERT Nick, who wants that P7. As ERT Nick hasn't got any pens, so he's going to get himself a net P7 at the minute. I wonder if Corey's got any damage. Doesn't look like it.
Oh, I think it was just a simple tank slapper coming up with that very awkward uphill left-hander. But quick mention how I was on about Mercedes going for a second constructors title in a row. It's looking very unlikely, as well, looking at the constructors, Red Bull are in second place with 66 points, and the current championship leaders.
Oh, as the Only Tom R gets a penalty. Sorry to interrupt you there. So he's now going to be on 6 seconds, so he's going to drop, it looks like, to even P6. So it's going to be a great result for Vitinho, who's going to potentially look at a P4 in this race, as I believe that's Only Tom R's second penalty. Yes, it is. So he's on 6.
Pressure's on him now to really put foot down.
Yeah.
Yeah, going back to what I was saying about the constructors, is Mercedes aren't even in the top 3, they're 4th behind. They're 10 points behind Haas and 4th. And the current constructors championship leaders are Ferrari, and they've almost got double the amount of points as second place Red Bull.
Wow. So Ferrari going back to their early years of dominating on the F1 tracks.
Dominating the constructors, but I've not seen a Ferrari win the championship, leading the championship yet. But
No.
Chris and Scorpion still in that championship hunt. We need to be up closer to the Hanen though. We do want to get that, to be in that championship fight coming the end of the season.
Just looking at Van Halen, he's now 3/10 behind Danestar. This is going to be a couple of lap sprint, I think.
Well, I've got to say it's going to be squeaky bum time for Dainstar at the moment, as he's going to be frantically just trying to keep it as smooth as possible and not make any mistakes that could cost him this race win. He was absolutely dominant in qualifying. He's been dominant in the race so far. Surely he won't give away the race win on the final few laps. Just one silly mistake. As he picks up another time penalty. I believe that's him up to 6 seconds of penalties now. Yeah, the battle continues to brew at the moment between
Yellow flag, sector 1.
It's just Key going slowly. He's lost a bit of end plate.
I wonder if Venhaenen's going to try and get the move done in turn 1, because he's only 6th, 10th. Yeah.
With ERS, you need to be about 4 tenths from the left sector, maybe even closer. You've got to be basically pushing the car ahead if you're wanting to get it done in slipstream near ERS alone. As we've got yellow flags, Corey's rammed. Corey is round in the final sector, so another gutting result for the Renault team. As well, if we're going on 2020, it will be Cyril on the pit wall.
Yeah.
We'll have head and hands at the moment. Having Saltabear out of the race, being an AI car, and Corey being dropping it or making contact with somebody in the last sector. So it's going to be head and hands moment from the Renault boys.
Yeah, and also just a quick note: Red Bull have got themselves back up to P11 and P12. Well, one's got a time penalty, so he's going to drop behind his teammate. But
they have slipped themselves back into points win positions, so it's going to be, unless one of them has the fastest lap outside the top 10, a grand total of 3 points for the Red Bull team. Whereas Haas are going to be picking up 17 or 18 points. So Verheyen on his own is carrying that Haas team to P2 in the championship. So hats off to Verheyen. He isn't only in a title, a drivers' championship fight, but he's also dragging that Haas into a championship battle for P2s. He's gone wide there, having a bit of twitch of oversteer. As Corey has retired from the race. So that's both Renaults out of the race now. So I'll be back to the drawing boards for that, for Cyril and the team. Back at the Renault HQ. Yeah. Just imagine Günther Steiner if he had a Haas in P2. Oh, goodness me, he would be a very happy boy. Netflix must not be around. Give him a car that's currently running P2. Put him in this situation, be a very happy man, I imagine. Yeah. Compared to his usual grumpy self, having the unfortunate of being the slowest car on the grid now, having been overtaken by Williams now, and Alfa Romeo. The Alfa Romeo looked to be a solid midfield team as well. The first 2 years or so in F1 when they came back taking over Silver, they seemed to be in and around that midfield, but now they just seem to be dropping into the back markers, really. Yeah. Williams continually takes steps forward from 2019 to 2020 and now 2021, where they're arguably a point scoring car, a midfield team now. Yeah, it is, I think, nice to see the Haas and the Alfa Romeo up in P2 and P3 respectively. Well, I have to say, it's certainly been a long time since Alfa Romeo's been near the podium in Formula 1.
Yeah, I do feel that this isn't no intention or thing or anything. I do feel Danestar is the Hamilton of Mercedes and Nick is the Bottas of Mercedes. As you can see the difference. Nick obviously a fantastic racer in his own right. Just I think today has been caught out by the wet weather. He is in P7, so he will get some valuable points for himself in the drivers and the constructors as well. But I just feel that Danestar is that Hamilton driver.
I have to say, Nick is Mr. Consistent. I have to say, in around with points every week. Unlike Bottas, he is Mr. Consistent. There's no really need to question Nick's seat at all. He's always been in there getting valuable points for his team week in, week out. So he certainly isn't a Bottas-esque driver where someone's always questioning if he deserves the seat or not. He's clearly consistent enough to deserve the seat. As I mentioned, well, the last win for an Alfa Romeo team in Formula 1 was the 1951 Spanish Grand Prix, so if Rinke could pull that off, it would be almost 70 years or so, maybe.
Yeah, as we are now on the final lap of this round 6 race in OneHub for the Spanish Grand Prix. Danestar is currently coming through the last corners with Van Hanen and Rimpe in P2 and P3. So he's now coming through the sweeping left and right turns. He's led every lap nearly and he's got the fastest lap. A fantastic race from the Mercedes driver. And it's going to be a Mercedes P1 for Danestar, who takes the provisional race win in the precision tier for round 6 in OneHub Racing Season 18, with Van Hanen taking P2 on the track. Fantastic race for the Haas driver, and Rimpe gets himself a podium place with P3, and that's your top 3 for this Spanish Grand Prix. Just missing out on the podium places are in P4 we have the only Tamar in the Racing Point, then we have Vitinho in 5th, then we have Chris in P6, ERT Nick in P7, Scorpion Hunt in P8, Lukey in P9, Late Ski in P10, Sam in his first debut race with his teammate in 11th. Then we have Kian in P12. White Fountain is just coming round, I believe, the final corners, and he's going to take P13. Not in the points today for the other Alfa Tauri driver. Apologies.
It's very confusing, I have to say. The names both starting with Alpha, but the last driver to cross the line will be Key, who will cross the line in P14, so a disappointing result from the McLaren man. His teammate not here, Riley not here this week, unfortunately. He's drifting it around the final corner, but wasn't quite able to catch it. But I'll give him bonus points for the effort and drift, I have to say. Yeah. Good effort, but couldn't quite stick the finish.
As Lukey gets the in-game driver of the day, the Alfa Romeo driver there taking the in-game driver of the day. We will get to our driver of the day picks in a minute as we look at the provisional race results for the precision tier, as Danestar takes the provisional win in the precision tier and collects that trophy, with Van Hanen in the Haas taking P2, and rounding off your podium place is the Alfa Romeo driver of Rimpe. So we'll just wait for the screen to bring up the results. So there is your provisional race classification in the Spanish Grand Prix for OneHub Racing Season 18. Danestar takes the provisional race win. So, Liam, the question I think everybody's been waiting for: who is your driver of the day?
I'm going to give my driver of the day to our, well, the race winner Danestar with the Grand Slam pole position, fastest lap, and the race win. My question will be, after that dominant display, do you think you can take this momentum on and use it for a late push for the championship?
And for myself, the driver of the day, I'm going to give it to the Alfa Romeo, no, not Alfa Romeo, Alfa Tauri driver, apologies, to Vitinho. He qualified P9. He's got himself up to P5. My question for him is, you qualified quite low down in the qualifying in the dry, but you managed to pull it up to P5 in the race. So do you feel this is a move forward in the Alfa Tauri and picking up points this season? So that is both myself and Liam's driver of the day's nominations and the questions. You can vote for your driver of the day on OneHub Racing's social media platform, Twitter, which is at OneHub Racing. All the tiers driver of the day nominations will be on there for you to pick as well. So that's another race in the precision tier done for round 6. Round 7 will be next week in the Temple of Speed in the Monza. You looking forward to that one, Liam?
Yeah, it's certainly a much more open and fast-paced track than Spain is. Spain, very much basically just a testing track, but Monza does provide quite a few classics, so I'm quite hyped looking for next week in Monza, so we will be seeing you guys there.
Well, will we see another Pierre Gasly? Well, until next time, we will catch you again next week for round 7 in the precision tier of OneHub Racing. OneHub will be back next week at 6 PM with the prospect tier in round 7 of the Monza Grand Prix. But also don't forget, you can keep up to date with OneHub on Twitter at OneHub Racing, and hopefully all the F1 fans enjoy the Monaco Grand Prix this weekend. It's good night from myself, CPI Storm, and it's good night from Liam.